There's a moment, small, silent, and almost invisible, when someone you deeply care about looks away first. It's quick, it's subtle, but your heart feels it like thunder. You try to brush it off, tell yourself it's nothing, but deep inside something in your soul whispers, that meant something. When an avoidant looks away first, it's not just a glance, it's a defense mechanism wrapped in pain. It's their silent language saying, I want connection, but I'm afraid of what connection might cost me. You see, avoidants don't avoid because they don't care. They avoid because they care too deeply, and caring terrifies them. The moment they look away isn't rejection, it's reflection. What that moment teaches you about human nature, emotional fear, and self-mastery. Because if you can understand why an avoidant looks away, you can understand why you withdraw, why you chase, and why you sometimes settle for silence instead of truth. We all have a little avoidant inside us. We all carry memories that make us afraid to be seen. The avoidant looks away, but you notice, you feel, and that's where your power begins, because awareness is where transformation starts. So today, I want you to see that look, not as rejection, but as information, as data about the soul. Because when someone looks away, it reveals where the healing needs to happen inside them or inside you. You can't fix an avoidant by chasing them. You can't heal them by convincing them, but you can understand their language, their fear, and their silence. And through that understanding, you can set yourself free. Because freedom isn't about being loved back. It's about learning to love without losing yourself. Let's talk about what it really means when an avoidant looks away first, and how you can turn that moment of emotional distance into a breakthrough of personal growth and unstoppable inner strength. There comes a moment in every connection, a moment that tests your patience, your understanding, and your emotional maturity. It's that moment when someone you love begins to pull away. You sense it before it happens. Their replies become shorter, their energy shifts, their eyes don't hold yours as long as they used to. You can feel the gap forming before you can name it. And your instinct wants to fix it. You want to close the distance, bridge the silence, make things right. But here's the truth. Most people never understand. Their distance is communication. When an avoidant looks away, they're not being cold. They're communicating in the only language they've ever been safe using, distance. They don't use words to say, I'm scared. They use silence. They don't say, I'm overwhelmed. They withdraw. Every inch they step back is a sentence of emotion they don't know how to speak. And the more you chase to fill that space, the louder their silence becomes. You see, we live in a world obsessed with verbal communication. We believe if we just talk more, explain more, express more, we can fix everything. But human beings don't only speak with words, we speak with energy. We speak with presence. We speak with the micro choices we make when fear rises inside us. And for an avoidant, that language is distance. Here's the shift I want you to make. Stop taking their withdrawal personally. When someone pulls away, your ego screams, what's wrong with me? What did I do? Why am I not enough? But their distance doesn't define your value. It defines their comfort level with intimacy. It's not about your worth. It's about their wound. Avoidants were often trained by life to equate closeness with danger. Maybe love once meant control. Maybe vulnerability once meant pain. Maybe when they finally opened their heart, someone used that openness against them. So now, when they sense emotional intensity, even if it's love, they retreat. Not because they don't care, but because they care more than they can manage. And that's what you must understand. Their distance is not rejection. It's regulation. It's their nervous system trying to find safety again. That's why arguing, explaining, or chasing doesn't work. You can't reason with a nervous system in survival mode. You can't logic someone out of fear. You can only create space for them to breathe and for you to stay grounded in your own peace. When you notice someone pulling away, breathe instead of reacting, observe instead of assuming, understand instead of accusing. Because when you learn to stay calm in the presence of emotional distance, you communicate something even more powerful than words. You say, I am safe. I am grounded. I don't need to control you to feel whole. That's the energy that heals. That's the frequency that draws people back. Not pressure, not persuasion, but presence. You see, love isn't about constant closeness. It's about consistent energy. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone have their space without filling it with your panic. Let silence be sacred instead of scary. Let distance be a message instead of a rejection. Because when you stop fighting their withdrawal, you stop feeding their fear. And here's the paradox. When you no longer chase, they begin to notice. When you no longer beg for connection, they feel safe enough to come closer. Because what pushes an avoidant away isn't your love. It's the pressure behind your love. When you release that pressure, you give love a chance to breathe. You must become fluent in silence. Learn to hear what isn't said. Learn to read energy, not only words. Because emotional mastery isn't about fixing others. It's about understanding yourself in the presence of others. Their distance is not the end of the story. It's an invitation for you to rise higher. It's a test of whether you can stay true to your peace when someone else loses theirs. Whether you can hold space instead of seeking validation. Whether you can love without losing yourself. When an avoidant looks away, it means something, but not what you think. It doesn't mean they stopped caring. It means they're caught in the tension between love and fear, safety and vulnerability. And in that moment, your job is not to make them stay. It's to stay centered yourself. Because real power doesn't come from control. It comes from calmness. When you stay grounded in your energy, when you hold your frequency steady even in the presence of emotional withdrawal, you become magnetic. You become the anchor they didn't know they needed. So next time someone pulls away, don't rush to fill the silence. Don't panic. Don't plead. Just breathe. Stay in your truth. Know your value. Because sometimes you've probably replayed that moment in your head over and over again. The distance, the silence, the way they suddenly change from warm to cold. Your mind starts spinning with questions like, what did I do wrong? But what if I told you that their withdrawal has very little to do with you and everything to do with their fear of intimacy? You see, intimacy isn't just physical closeness. It's emotional nakedness. It's letting someone see the real you, your fears, your imperfections, your truth. And for someone with an avoidant attachment, that kind of exposure doesn't feel safe. It feels dangerous. To an avoidant, intimacy means surrender. It means losing control. And losing control feels like death to a nervous system that was wired to protect itself at all costs. So when connection deepens, they panic. Not because they don't care, but because their system interprets closeness as a threat. You might think their detachment is rejection, but it's actually protection. They're not protecting themselves from you. They're protecting themselves from feeling too much, because feeling too much once led them to pain, disappointment, or abandonment. Their brain says, if I stay distant, I can't get hurt. And here's the heartbreaking irony. Avoidants often crave love as deeply as you do. They just learned that love is unsafe. They're caught in a loop. I want connection, but connection hurts. That inner tug of war is exhausting. So they step back, not because they don't feel, but because they feel too deeply. You can't outlove someone's fear. You can't heal what they refuse to face, but you can understand it. And understanding gives you peace. When an avoidant pulls back, your ego screams for answers. Your heart aches for closure. But the truth is, there's nothing to fix in that moment. Because the more you chase their connection, the more they run from their fear. Here's what true strength looks like. It's when you stop taking their fear personally, when you realize that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their wounds. That's emotional freedom. That's mastery. The moment you stop saying, why don't they love me enough? And start saying, why am I trying to earn what should? Flow freely. Everything changes. You were never meant to beg for love. You were meant to embody it, to radiate it, to stand in your power and say, I will not shrink to fit into someone's comfort zone. When you understand their fear, you stop reacting from yours. You begin to see that their avoidance is not rejection. It's a reflection of the healing they haven't done. And in that awareness, you stop trying to save them and start choosing yourself. Because the most loving thing you can do for an avoidant is not to chase them. It's to show them what safety looks like through your calm, not your chaos. So remember, it's not you. It's not your fault. It's not your failure. It's their fear of intimacy, and it's their responsibility to face it. When you finally get close to an avoidant, when the conversations get deep, the ions get real, and vulnerability starts to show, something strange happens. The same closeness you cherish becomes their internal alarm. You see it in their body language, the way their eyes shift, their shoulders tighten. You feel the wall rising. That's not by accident. It's biology. Avoidants aren't cold people. They are people whose nervous system learned to associate closeness with pain. When connection deepens, their body doesn't feel safe. It feels invaded. Their subconscious mind screams, run. This is called defensive attachment response. It's an emotional reflex built over years of survival. Maybe as a child they learned that love came with strings attached. Maybe love meant control, judgment, or betrayal. So now when someone tries to get close, their old programming activates. Don't trust this. Protect yourself. And here's the thing. You can't fight someone's defense system with logic, because it's not thinking that's the problem. It's feeling. The moment they sense intimacy, their body floods with fear hormones. That's why they suddenly withdraw, go silent, or push you away right when things start to feel beautiful. It's not because they've stopped caring. It's because they care, and that care terrifies them. Now, here's where your power lies. You can't rewire their defense system, but you can master your response to it. Most people react to withdrawal with panic. They chase, they overtext, they demand reassurance. But the more you react, the more you confirm their fear that closeness equals danger. Instead, become the opposite of their expectation. Stay calm when they pull away. Stay grounded when they create space. That energy tells their nervous system, this connection doesn't hurt, it's safe. Over time, consistency and peace can recondition even the most guarded hearts, but only if you refuse to become another source of chaos, because love is not about fixing, it's about reflecting safety. It's not about breaking their walls, it's about showing them that walls are unnecessary around you. So when an avoidance defense system activates, don't take it as rejection. Take it as an invitation to embody peace, to be the calm they didn't know existed. Your energy is the medicine their fear needs. Let's turn the mirror now, because this is where the real growth happens. When someone avoids you, it hurts. The silence stings. The distance feels like a wound. But before you point your finger outward, I want you to ask yourself, why does their withdrawal trigger me so deeply? Because in that reaction lies your own healing. When an avoidant pulls away, it often awakens your abandonment wound. You start to feel unseen, unchosen, not enough. You start chasing, over-explaining, proving, begging for closeness. But pause for a second. Who taught you that you had to earn love? Who taught you that love disappears if you stop performing for it? This is where self-awareness becomes power. The avoidant isn't your enemy. They're your mirror. They reflect the very part of you that still fears being left behind. And that's the breakthrough moment. You realize their avoidance triggers your own avoidance of self-worth. Instead of saying, why are they like this? Start asking, what is this moment showing me about me? Because life doesn't give you people to fix. It gives you people to reveal you. You can't control whether an avoidance stays or leaves. But you can control whether you abandon yourself when they do. Do you spiral? Do you lose your peace? Do you forget who you are? That's your signal. Your healing isn't about changing them. It's about coming home to yourself. When you can stay calm in the face of distance, you tell the universe, I'm ready for real love, the kind that doesn't demand that I chase it. Every reaction is a roadmap. Every trigger is a teacher. Every withdrawal is a test. And when you learn to respond with peace instead of panic, you pass the test. That's when you evolve from being emotionally reactive to emotionally powerful. The truth is, the avoidant didn't come into your life to destroy you. They came to awaken you, to show you where your power was leaking, to show you where your boundaries were too soft, to teach you the art of loving without losing yourself. So stop chasing closure from others and start creating it within, because the moment you no longer need their validation, you break the chain, you become free. There's something almost unbearable about silence when you care deeply, the unanswered texts, the delayed response, the blank stare when you're trying to connect. Your heart starts racing, your mind starts spiraling, and you think, why aren't they saying anything? Don't they care? But here's the truth that most people never see. For an avoidant, silence is not punishment. It's protection. Avoidants use silence the way a turtle uses its shell. It's not that they don't want to engage. It's that engagement feels like exposure. Their silence is a fortress built from years of emotional self-defense. When words failed them in the past, when vulnerability led to chaos, silence became their safest home. So, when they go quiet, they're not necessarily ignoring you. They're trying to regulate the storm within. They're trying to process emotions that feel too big, too fast, too overwhelming. Silence is the only way they know how to breathe again. But you, being emotionally aware and craving connection, feel that silence like a dagger. You want to fix it, fill it, break it. You want to speak until they respond. But that's not understanding. That's fear disguised as love. Because when you can't handle silence, what you're really afraid of is your own thoughts, your own insecurities, your own need to be validated. Here's the key. When someone's silence triggers you, It's an invitation to master your peace. It's a challenge to rise above your emotional reactivity. Because only those who can stay still in silence truly hold power in relationships. You must learn to hear silence not as rejection but as translation. It's their way of saying, I need space to feel safe again. When you stop fighting their silence, something miraculous happens. You start hearing your own truth, louder. You begin to see that love doesn't always sound like I miss you. Sometimes love sounds like quiet healing. So instead of chasing words, become fluent in stillness. When they go silent, don't panic, breathe, don't text 10 times, ground yourself. Show them through your calm that silence doesn't have to be war, that it can also be peace, because real connection isn't built through constant talking. It's built through energetic safety. When your presence feels safe, their silence will eventually turn into trust. Because the truth is, they're not looking for someone who can fix their silence. They're looking for someone who can sit with it. That's what real strength looks like. That's emotional maturity. And when you embody that, you become the calm they crave in their chaos. Most people misunderstand detachment. They think detachment means not caring. They think it means shutting down, building walls, or pretending they're over it. But true detachment isn't cold, it's powerful. It's the ability to love fully without losing your center. You see, when you attach your peace to someone else's behavior, you give away your power. You make your happiness dependent on whether they text you back, whether they validate you, whether they stay or go. That's not love. That's emotional dependence dressed as devotion. Detachment is the art of loving with open hands instead of clenched fists. It's saying, I love you, but I won't abandon myself for you. It's saying, I can care deeply, but my peace is not negotiable. Avoidants often unconsciously test your level of attachment. When they pull away, they want to know, will you chase me or will you stay centered? Because the moment you chase, they feel trapped. The moment you detach, they feel safe. It's not manipulation. It's their nervous system seeking balance. That's why the most magnetic energy in the world is calm detachment, not arrogance, not indifference, but peace. The kind of peace that says, I'm here if you want connection, but I'm fine if you don't. That energy communicates safety to an avoidant more than any words ever could. When you master detachment, you shift the power dynamic. You stop being the pursuer and become the anchor. And anchors don't chase, they hold. They stand steady in the storm. Here's the truth, you can't chase someone into healing. You can only invite them into safety. When you detach with love, you create space for the avoidant to feel free. And freedom is the only environment where genuine connection can grow. Detachment doesn't mean you walk away cold. It means you stand tall with boundaries. You stop explaining your worth. You stop begging for attention. You stop fighting for a seat at a table where your energy is not honored. Because the moment you detach from outcomes, you become unstoppable. You become emotionally free. And that freedom is exactly what draws the right kind of love toward you. We live in a culture obsessed with fixing things instantly. The moment something breaks, we rush to repair it. But emotional healing doesn't work like that, especially with someone who's avoidant. Avoidants heal in space, not in pressure. The more you push, the more they retreat. The more you demand, the more their defenses rise. Because pressure feels like invasion to someone whose safety depends on control. You can't force healing. You can't demand closeness. You can't make someone open up faster than their fear allows. The seed doesn't bloom because you yell at it. It blooms when you give it light, patience, and room to grow. When you stop chasing and start allowing, something incredible happens. You shift from desperation to attraction. You create a safe, energetic field where the avoidant can start lowering their guard. Not because you force them, but because your calm gave them permission. Space is sacred. Space is healing. Space is where reflection happens. When you create space with love instead of resentment, it tells the other person, I trust that you'll come closer when you're ready. And trust is what transforms fear into connection. This doesn't mean you wait forever or tolerate emotional neglect. It means you recognize that real intimacy is not built through pressure. It's built through pacing. You don't build a house by pushing the walls closer, you build it by giving each brick space to settle. So if someone you care about needs space, give it. But give it with peace, not punishment. Because when your energy says, I'm not chasing, I'm not angry, I'm not leaving, I'm just calm, that energy heals. Healing happens when both people can breathe. And when you create space without bitterness, you become the environment where love can return STR. Longer, deeper, and more authentic. So stop pressuring connection. Stop demanding closure. Let space do what words cannot. Because sometimes love isn't about holding tighter. It's about learning when to let go. There's a truth you must burn into your mind. You will never attract what you want. You will always attract what you believe you deserve. That's why self-worth isn't just an idea. It's energy. It's frequency. It's the invisible force that determines who stays in your life and who walks away. When you operate from low self-worth, you chase, you plead, you overgive, you overprove, you become addicted to convincing someone that you're worthy of their attention. But when you step into high self-worth, everything changes. You stop chasing and you start choosing. Avoidants subconsciously pick up on your energetic confidence or lack of it. When you move from a place of need, they feel pressure. When you move from a place of wholeness, they feel peace, because self-worth does. In Scream, it radiates. It doesn't beg for validation. It commands respect. Let me tell you this, you will never have to fight for love when you know your worth, because real love recognizes self-respect. It's drawn to it like gravity. When you make your worth conditional on someone else's attention, you give them the remote control to your happiness. They pull away, you crumble. They respond, you rise. That's not love, that's emotional slavery. The truth is, you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you keep accepting breadcrumbs, people will keep serving them. If you keep tolerating distance and calling it love, you'll keep experiencing half-hearted connections. Self-worth is when you stop saying, please see my value, and start saying, I know my value, even if you can't handle it. It's when you realize your presence is the gift, not your absence the punishment. When you walk in that energy, everything shifts. The avoidant begins to see something unfammy. Liar. Someone who doesn't lose themselves for love. Someone who doesn't beg for peace. They are peace. That's what awakens curiosity. That's what earns respect. Because love isn't about possession, it's about polarity. And the highest form of attraction is when two whole people meet, not two halves trying to complete each other. So stand tall in your worth, because when you know who you are, you stop being afraid of who leaves. And that's the kind of power that turns heartbreak into rebirth. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to convince someone to love you, the more they pull away? The more emotional you get, the more silent they become? That's not coincidence. It's energetic polarity. Avoidants are not moved by chaos. They're moved by calmness, because chaos feels like danger to them. And yet, most people respond to avoidance with panic. They over-explain, over-talk, overthink, believing that more words will equal more connection. But words never calm a nervous system, Hat's triggered. Energy does. The truth is, you don't teach love through lectures. You teach it through vibration. You teach it through how you breathe when they distance themselves. You teach it through how you hold yourself when things feel uncertain. You teach it through the energy you radiate when silence fills the space. Calmness communicates, I am safe. Chaos communicates, you were right to run. Every time you stay centered instead of chasing, you send a powerful message to their subconscious. Closeness can be safe, because when you embody peace, you rewire their experience of connection. And here's the beauty, you don't even have to say a word. When they come back, and they often do, they'll remember not what you said, but how you felt. They'll remember that being near you didn't cost them their safety. It restored it. That's the energy that heals. That's what breaks avoidance cycles. Not force, not control, but calmness. So the next time you feel the urge to overreact, pause, breathe, smile. Let your energy speak louder than your words, because true love isn't something you demand. It's something you demonstrate. And when you master calmness, you stop being the one who emotionally chasing and become the one who emotionally leads. That's where your power lives. That's where love begins to feel like peace, not war. When an avoidant looks away, it hurts. It cuts deep because it awakens your oldest wound, the fear of not being enough. You wonder, why can't they look at me? Why can't they face this connection? But the truth is, that moment, the look away, is not about them anymore. It's about you. When they look away, it's your signal to look within. Because that moment of emotional distance is life's mirror, showing you where you still abandon yourself. Do you stop trusting your intuition when someone rejects you? Do you start doubting your worth because someone couldn't see it? Do you shrink your light because someone couldn't handle its brightness? Every time you do that, you betray yourself to win temporary comfort. But the real breakthrough happens when you learn to stay connected to you, even when someone disconnects from you. Looking within means asking, what part of me still believes I need someone's attention to feel whole? It means realizing that their avoidance is not a verdict on your value. It's a reflection of their capacity. You cannot extract worth from a person who's still learning to love themselves. So when they look away, don't chase their eyes. Close yours and breathe. Ask yourself, what does this trigger want to teach me? Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you boundaries. Maybe it's teaching you to choose yourself even when others don't. Because here's the ultimate truth. Every rejection is a redirection toward deeper alignment. Every distance is an opportunity for self-connection. Every goodbye is an initiation into self-respect. When they look away, you rise. You stop seeing it as loss and start seeing it as liberation. Because sometimes the universe removes people not to hurt you, but to help you remember your own power. When they look away, it means something. It means you've reached the edge of their comfort and the beginning of your awakening. So instead of asking, why did they look away? Start saying, thank you for showing me where I need to look next. Because the truth is, the only person who can never look away from you is you. And once you truly see yourself, no one's silence can ever blind you again. When an avoidant looks away first, it's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of awareness. That small silent moment is a portal into truth. It's life whispering, see beyond the surface. Because that look isn't just about fear, it's about history. It's about wounds that never found words. And if you can see that moment, not through ego, but through empathy, you begin to understand the human condition at its deepest level. We're all running from something. Some run from pain. Some run from love. But ultimately, we're all just running from the mirror of our own unhealed reflection. The truth is, avoidance is not the absence of love. It's the fear of it. It's love tangled with trauma. It's care mixed with confusion. And when you learn to stop personalizing someone's fear, you reclaim your peace. Because peace doesn't come from being chosen. It comes from choosing yourself even when someone else cannot. You can love them without chasing. You can understand them without absorbing their pain. That's emotional mastery. That's where power lives. You were never meant to fix anyone. You were meant to see what's broken without breaking yourself in the process. To love without losing yourself in the maze of someone else's fear. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to embody it. The moment you stop begging for connection and start standing in your value, you become magnetic. Because true Kishion doesn't happen when you chase. It happens when you radiate. There will always be people who look away. People who can't meet your gaze because your energy exposes their shadows. Don't take it as rejection. Take it as revelation. You are growing, and not everyone can meet you in your evolution. Some are still learning how to stand in their truth. Some are still finding the courage to stay when their fear screams, run. But your role is not to wait for them. It's to keep walking toward your own light. Because every time you rise, you give others permission to do the same. And if you ever find yourself staring at the silence again, remember this. Silence is not emptiness. It's space. Space for reflection. Space for healing. Space for new energy to find you. You don't need to fill the quiet to prove your worth. You are the worth. You are the peace. You are the calm after the storm. Because strength isn't in chasing what left, it's in trusting what's meant to stay. So the next time an avoidant looks away first, don't look outward, look inward. Don't react. Reflect. Don't chase, choose yourself. That moment, though painful, is sacred. It's the universe reminding you that you are enough, that you are always enough, and that love, real love, can never be built on fear. Because when you love from wholeness, even silence speaks your language. And when you know your worth, even their distance can't shake your peace. Thank you for listening. If this message touched something inside you, it's because you were ready to hear it. You're not broken, you're awakening, you're not too much, you're just finally meeting parts of yourself that were waiting to be seen. If this speech helped you see yourself or someone else in a new light, don't just keep it, live it. Carry this awareness into your next conversation, into your next relationship, into the mirror tomorrow morning, because awareness is useless unless you act on it. And as you go, remember, when someone looks away, it doesn't mean the story is over. Sometimes it means the universe is giving you the pen. You get to write the next chapter now, one built on peace, strength, and self-worth. Until next time, stay grounded, stay powerful, and remember, you were never meant to chase love. You were meant to become it. Thank you for watching. And if this spoke to your soul, like, share, and subscribe to join this movement of self-awareness and emotional freedom. Your growth matters. Your healing matters, and I'll see you in the next awakening.